Buy or Sell Dynasty Offseason Edition. And today we have Super Bowl MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Cooper Kupp. Absolutely fantastic this year. 145 receptions, almost 200 targets at 191 targets, almost 2,000 yards, 1,947 yards. Absolutely crazy. He finished wide receiver 1. Zach, I mean, should we be selling or buying Cooper Kupp in Dynasty right now?
Look, I suspect a lot of people will be angry at this take. So I'm not going to be surprised if we look back on this video in a week from now and there's a lot of people with, good reason in the comments to be upset. You just literally talked about one of the greatest wide receiver years we've ever seen in fantasy. And we're talking about the connection with Matthew Stafford. Why the hell would you sell, right? Well,
right.
I am selling Cooper Kupp. I think it is time to sell at an absolute high. The only reason that you don't sell Cooper Kupp right now, literally the only reason, is if you are truly in a win now window.
Right.
Like you are the best team. Even then, I don't like even then I think I'm still selling him because of what I can get in return. Okay. Let me give you a couple reasons, okay?
Okay.
Number one, and this isn't very important, but let's be honest, like what will this wide receiver room look like in 2022?
Yeah.
Robert Woods will be back. OBJ's likely going to be back. Will he miss some time? He might miss, the first month of the season. Van Jefferson's going to be back. Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson. Will they draft anyone? These are questions that I start to ask myself. But not only what will the wide receiver room look like, more importantly here, defenses, after they have an entire year to scout something, after there's an entire year of film on something that's worked really, really well in the NFL, typically there is always negative regression the next year.
The decline.
Typically, whatever player has done that well, they need to then add another wrinkle into their game. I mean, I always compare this to Lamar Jackson, but you think about it. This year, what was like the best connection? It was Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. But now that teams have had an entire year to review the film, I believe that this is the best year that Cooper Kupp's going to have in his career. I do think we have seen the best year that Cooper Kupp will ever have.
That's hard to beat.
Number two, let's talk about the age peak, if you will. Okay. He will be 29 in June. There's a lot of history to prove that this is the age where wide receivers typically start to hit that peak.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's going to be a steep decline. I still think he's going to be a good wide receiver, but let me just look at this. Okay. Since 2017, let's look at every wide receiver 1 finish. And let's look at what that wide receiver did the year after, okay? So in 2017, Antonio Brown was the number 1 wide receiver. And the next year, he finished wide receiver 5. In 2018, DeAndre Hopkins was the number 1 wide receiver. The next year, he finished wide receiver 5.
Right.
Michael Thomas in 2019 was the wide receiver 1. The year after, big injury issues, finished wide receiver 95.
Okay.
Davante Adams, even last year, Davante Adams finished as a wide receiver 1 this year, couldn't repeat it, finished as a wide receiver 2. I love Cooper Kupp. He does everything right. He's a guy that you want to root for. Fantastic route runner. But can I ask you guys who are watching, and even you, Badake, of the 5 players, the 4 players that I just named there, is Cooper Kupp more talented as a wide receiver than any of them?
Right.
No, he's not. He's not more talented than Antonio Brown, D-Hop, Michael Thomas, Davante Adams. We love Cooper Kupp, and the name is so high right now, but still, I don't think he's as talented as those players. And when it comes down to it, I do think Cooper Kupp will finish top 5 next year, but I don't think he'll be the wide receiver 1.
Okay.
I don't think he will ever finish this high again. Let's go back even last year. Do you remember, like, we so quickly forget how we viewed players last offseason at this period. Davante Adams in the 2020 offseason last year was the wide receiver 1 in 99.9% of everyone's dynasty rankings. He was the wide receiver 1 because he came off this historic year. Everyone was so high on him. Now let's look at Davante Adams this offseason. 1 year removed from literally being able to get a king's ransom for him last year. 1 year removed, he's now the wide receiver 11 or below in most people rankings. And that's according to Keep Trade Cut, which is great for crowdsourcing.
Right.
So even 1 year removed, and they're a similar age bracket here, Devontae Adams is a far superior talent. I'm sorry. I love Cooper Kupp, but this is the highest point of Cooper Kupp's trade value in Dynasty.
Right.
Last season, you could get a king's ransom for Adams. This year, I don't know if you guys know, like you probably know this if you have Devontae Adams, but nobody wants to trade for Devontae Adams unless they're actually a win-now team. Like you have a very, very slim window of teams that want Devontae Adams on their team at this point. So for me, it's all about getting maximum value. This is the peak. I mean, I've seen people get multiple first rounders, including 2023 picks for Kupp.
Yeah.
And
100%.
in my opinion, like I feel like we're going to be looking back in 1 year from now and saying that was the right time to sell. The age, he's going to hit 29 for whatever reason, whether you like it, whether we like it or we don't, that does drop his value in people's minds around the dynasty sphere.
Right.
So now is the time. There is not going to be a higher peak for him, in my opinion. What about you, Badake?
Look,
are you buying or selling?
It's so hard, and I'm actually with you. I'm selling purely because of the maximum value. Okay. I'm not necessarily, usually on this segment, we bring worries. Why are we worried and why are we selling these guys? We give reasons. Obviously, Zach gave reasons, and it's weird because I'm going to give you reasons why maybe you shouldn't sell, but I'm still selling, For me, yes, the landscape, is it scary? All these question marks, Robert Woods, OBJ, are they going to draft somebody? Robert Woods, he's probably going to come back. He's not going to be the same. He tore his ACL. Cooper Kupp took him a year or two to really bounce back. OBJ, I think it was just confirmed that he tore his ACL as well. And he's probably going to miss a lot, like you said, a month or two into the season. All depends on how he recovers. I won't be surprised if OBJ says, you know what, I won this ring. Let's call it. I'm having a baby. I have a girl. Let's just call it. So another thing is,
I think he's too much of a competitor.
Maybe.
He loves the game too much in the spotlight to do that.
And another thing is, look at this depth chart. Who do they have? Van Jefferson. He's not a guy that's a PPR monster that's going to be taking points away from Cooper Kupp. He's more of a deep bomb threat. Then you look into the draft. Where is their first pick? It's in the third round. They literally, their first pick is the last pick in the 2022 draft, is the last pick in the third round. There's no value. At least I don't expect someone that's talented. I
will say this. I like this wide receiver class though.
But
they could find a steal in the third round.
I do, but I like it as well. But I don't know if someone, obviously no way George Pickens, David Bell, Khalil Shakir, he might not even go in the third round, he might go even higher than that. And then who else is left? So I think the depth chart is there for Cooper Kupp to still succeed. And obviously the biggest question is, how long are they going to continue with Matthew Stafford? Do you expect it? They just won a Super Bowl. And how long? If Matthew Stafford is there for a minimum of 3 years, why not keep Cooper Kupp? Because the expectation and the hope is that maybe he's maybe not going to repeat wide receiver one, but I think he's going to be in top 5 wide receiver.
Agreed.
So it's so hard. I'm on both sides here, but I am selling purely because of max value. The 2023 class is absolutely fantastic. And if you can cash in for two, like you said, 2 picks, a pick and a player, why not do that? So that's the only reason I am selling. But if I have Cooper Kupp and I'm a win now team and you say, you know what, maybe I'm going to hold off and take the chance that he finishes at least a top 5 receiver, I think you can still get a first round pick. But right now, I think the thought process is, hey, instead of getting 1 first round pick, you can get 2. Try to get 2 and a player, or
Again, if you're watching this and you're maybe upset that we're suggesting to sell him, friendly reminder. The thing is, no one sees the peak before it happens.
Exactly.
No one sees the peak before it happens. No one last year would have thought Devontae Adams would have fallen 10 spots in rankings. I mean, you could have sold Devontae Adams last year for a lot of those early picks for the guys like Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle. Devontae Adams was more valuable than A.J. Brown. I mean, all I want to tell you is the peak, you never see it. So I understand there might be people frustrated, but let's talk about what's a fair price to sell him for. And if I'm moving Cooper Kupp, I can do picks, but I would actually rather cash him in for a younger dynasty wide receiver that I value a little bit higher. So I'm going to give you a list of names that I currently have ranked higher than Cooper Kupp in dynasty. Obviously, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, duh. If you can even add picks on your side and make that happen, do it. But this is a list of wide receivers that I realistically think you can get a deal done with. because some people have Cooper Kupp right now as their wide receiver 1 in Dynasty, as their wide receiver 2 or 3. Guys like AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, CeeDee Lamb, Debo Samuel, Tyreek.
Tyreek.
I wouldn't want to do Tyreek, but still I do prefer Tyreek long term.
Okay.
DK Metcalf, T Higgins. So these are all wide receivers that I personally would prefer over Cooper Kupp. However, those last guys like T Higgins, DK, Tyreek, you could probably get, you could probably send Cooper Kupp and then get those players in return with a pick, some sort of compensation in the draft. So that's how I would be approaching it. Trying to find the best team in my league right now and finding what young dynasty assets I can steal off of them. Yeah. For Kupp.
Look, I can see how you can get these guys. I just don't know if anyone, there's no way I'm selling someone that's 25 or less for Cooper Kupp right now, even though he's just had an amazing season.
Totally. I wouldn't want. You might have to add picks with those, which I'm okay to do.
Exactly. So I think for me, if I were to be trying to sell Cooper Kupp, maybe, if I can get any of these guys that Zach just named, Jalen Waddle, CeeDee Lamb, Debo, sure, I'm down for it. But I think I just want to, a handful of picks. Give me a first, give me 2 firsts, maybe. Give me a first. If you really want, give me a first and a I'm thinking of someone like a J.K. Dobbins if you need a running back, But even then, I feel like that's still not enough because J.K. Dobbins' lifespan in fantasy is still too short. But if you can solidify J.K. Dobbins in a top 4 pick, then hey, that can be a top quarterback, a top wide receiver in 2023.
For sure.
So
for sure.
I like those prices and I like those players. Maybe not Tyreek for me, but everyone else I agree with.
I get it. Look, Tyreek to me, younger player, so I can pretty much make a lateral move. Yeah, a guy that I think has proven that he can, break games. So is Cooper Kupp, but it's pretty much a lateral move to a player I just prefer slightly. Okay. And honestly, I understand some of you are going to be upset on this one. That's okay. Leave your comments below. Let us know. You probably think we're idiots, but again, you never see the cliff when you're walking up towards it. You never see the other side until you get there. All right, guys, are you buying or selling Cooper Kupp? Let us know in the comments below.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.